Let's talk about the FBI's blunders and getting to Tony Soprano.
Major Rico against Tony Soprano? Those things take years to build.
The hell are they doing in my kitchen?
As opposed to later on in the show, in the beginning, the FBI is very aggressive about trying to either bust Tony or get him to flip on everyone and go into witness protection. They weren't working with someone on the inside, besides Puss, which we'll get to in a minute. But these early moves of searching Tony's house and not finding anything useful but breaking a bowl instead, playing a tape recording for Tony of his own mother trying to have him killed, saying his streak of luck has run out in Jersey, I think they showed their hand and played their cards way too early without there being really any teeth behind any of it. Not for Tony, anyway.
What the hell are you doing in my refrigerator?
You forgot your lunchbox, pal. Why don't you just ask?
I'm very sorry.
The FBI agent who spoke to Junior explained things to him in a way where ratting on Tony would not only mean ratting on a family member, a nephew, but making himself look extremely weak and foolish too.
You were not the boss of North Jersey, that in fact, your nephew, Anthony Soprano, was and is. But you were not making policy, and you were not in the New York loop. You were positioned to take the hits, and now you've taken them.
My nephew running things? Not that Struns. Not in this life.
I think the FBI underestimated Junior's pride and insecurity. Remember, the man is driven in toto by his insecurities. He'd rather look like the boss who's in jail than the idiot who was used as a lightning rod on top to take the hit.
But more than him, we want Mangano and Teresi.
I want to fuck Angie Dickinson. See who gets lucky first.
Yeah! FBI, nobody move! Hey!
We don't know for sure whether or not Jimmy Altieri was a rat.
So, what are you gonna do about the Colombian money?
But if he was, it seems like the FBI didn't really prepare him.
I'm working on it. Working on what? What were you gonna say?
If I knew anything about the dead Colombian, the apartment and all that.
Because the way he was repeating everything, all of the facts.
They even said that there's a new fingerprint technique that lifts it right off the bills.
And then the fact that he was released from jail so quickly, I feel like the FBI could have done a more strategic job with that. I'd say that applies to Puss, too. I think Puss dragged his feet successfully for years.
If I did ride with Tony on something like that, don't you think it would only get me tighter with him, raise my coinage, make Tony forget all his suspicions?
You're a cute prick, Puss. I'll give you that.
What are you gonna eat? Hey, waiter!
That's the closest CW16 ever got Tony to discussing the Bevilacqua murder on tape?
Get the wastebasket.
Rico-wise.
What about the home?
I have to leave this junk on the table. Control, you hearing me?
Loud and clear. Have left the sausage factory.
Meadows home from school doing some laundry.
Wait a second, where are you going with that lamp?
I'm taking it. The halogen Nana gave me gives me a headache.
Well, we had the lamp problem.
After Puss went 16 Bombensero compost and the lamp plan fell through, the FBI decided to try and get to Tony indirectly through Adriana.
Can't we get to him through the nephew? He's been made.
Would you ask Deborah to come in here, please?
What are you doing?
What?
4 fucking months of work.
Do we set someone else up?
And waste another 5 months getting in close? Our guard will be up anyway. I think we should consider the undercover op a dead issue.
Seems like that was a little Freudian slip. Considering the undercover a dead operation, they certainly ended up with a lot of dead informants.
What's happening?
Tony Soprano's mother's wake is tonight. Want me to wear a wire?
It looks like they have someone pretty high up in the organization. Remember when Tony originally suggested that Ray was next in line to be boss after Jackie?
I know if the old man were here, instead of in that cell in Springfield, he'd say, Raymond, this is your moment.
I also got an 18-year-old with MS, okay?
All due respect to your crippled kid, you just don't want a wire up your ass. You don't want the headache.
Want me to wear a wire?
I think Ray got himself a pretty good gig. The FBI is paying for his kid's MS medication, and he's also earning in the mafia without anyone having the slightest idea that he's double dipping and basically just using the FBI.
gotta talk about my compensation overall. Interferon for my son's MS? That's 20 a year now.
Right. You said you were gonna get us a making ceremony, which you didn't do.
This is Tony Soprano, talking about the Angelo Giacalone murder. The sound quality's not good, but I can back it up in court. He said...
He finally says he has some information about a murder. He drops dead. Stand-up guys like that are a dying breed.
This other inaudible is crack fucking heads, not legs. So what about my Alan Stewart shirt from that meeting? Ralph Cifaretto spilt my coffee and ruined it.
I can petty cash it, resubmit.
They were paying Ray for all this time, thousands and thousands of dollars for his kid's MS medication, and what did he give them in return? It's kind of like one of those shirts. I worked with the FBI for all these years, and all they got was a lousy t-shirt.
Frankly, I'm depressed.
Depressed in what?
Depressed and ashamed.
The sound quality is amazing.
New hats.
Has he said anything to you about another bid? We don't talk much. Take your hat off. Relax.
I guess we could say this is a surveillance failure as well. The hat thing.
Kind of soggy, you want to know the truth.
Mike's right in the button.
Messer owns a huge asset. Couple him
What? 3-year-old airline tickets?
That Anthony gave me a stolen ticket.
What are you going to say?
If they had enough to pinch you for, there'd be bars between us.
I'm serious, Adriana.
You've got to 1 o'clock.
It was a judgment call. She sounded okay. She really could have fled. She could be in China by now.
In addition, the FBI has some blind spots that Tony Soprano and company have access to. This gives them a leg up, or should I say, a leg up.
He's an eyeball witness. All my friend at the station knows is that he's a civilian.
Their local cop friends in particular.
Hey, boy. How's the family?
Oh, not bad, Paulie. You know, we had to move my father to another old folks' home.
I got my own fucking problems.
Tony.
Billy. Thanks for calling. Just lucky I knew that cop, so he cut me a favor.
Let me guess, he owes you money?
I went to collect for my cop up there, and he gave me a heads up. His buddy on the force saw some car out by Napoleon's Diner a couple of weeks ago. But he ran the plate, and it bounced back a no hit.
I'm here with Bobby. He just got a call from Jenna. Oh? Karen's sister?
Works in the courthouse.
Larry told him J.A. was solely responsible for the death of a certain African-American person.
In some cases, it's less about intervening and more about having simple knowledge from someone who's connected to the system. There's also the impact of internal politics and interagency communication or lack thereof. The local DA wanted to get those popcorn headlines by taking down a local mafia boss on a gun charge.
What? Where's the FBI?
Now, in order to beat the rap, this 16-year-old punk claims he saw my client drop that weapon. And mind you, not yesterday, but over 2 years ago.
Mr. Federal Attorney. What can I do for you?
You had to have your cheap headline, huh? Can you really not be aware we've been building a RICO case against Tony Soprano for 5 fucking years?
This doesn't insulate Tony from prosecution, but it does buy him time. These agents, their biases and personalities, put them at a disadvantage.
These things can work two ways, Skip. You can find yourself getting too close.
For example, Agent Skip Lipari. He got too close.
You hit a fucking 7-Eleven clerk.
How was he?
In a coma. They were gonna pinch you for leaving the scene, but I got you out of it.
I owe you again.
As a reminder, Skip knows that Puss was there with Tony the night of the Bevilacqua murder. So Skip basically let Puss get away with murder.
Because I feel really close to you.
You can find yourself getting too close.
Sometimes it helps to talk.
Now, Agent Sanseverino, on the other hand, I think she stayed too far, in a sense.
You don't care how I feel about anything. What am I doing? I can't talk to you. I am being, ripped apart here, just snitching on people.
Here, among your friends, is where you're useful.
I told you. You tell your bosses I come back for any trial.
Her warm bedside manner is demonstrated pretty well in the last conversation that she has with Eugene before he decides to die by suicide. Agent Harris.
You know what I think? I think you don't come here for the sandwiches. I think you come because you miss us. Hey, I can't blame you.
Yo, beat. Phil Leotardo got popped. Damn. You're gonna win this thing.
It's a challenge to maintain objectivity against a charismatic and cunning target like Tony. Even Chief Cubitoso couldn't help but enjoy some of those holiday gift baskets.
Christmas, Columbus Day. Have something to eat.
By the time we get to the end, Agent Harris and Tony seem to have more in common than ever.
Hey, probably another hour. Just leave it out, all right? I'll heat it up. Well, then don't leave it out. What do you want me to say?
So Carlo has flipped. We don't know.
But what if the FBI really did get something at the end?
My hunch, 80 to 90% chance you'll be indicted.
Hey, listen, Danny, we just want you to know how glad we are a guy like you was on that jury. That mob thing.
Even if Massarone and 1,000 other snitches pan out, we've still got to put Tony on trial.
It's a privilege. Hard-working guy. Wife and 2 kids.
That's useless until we find out how they penetrated the anonymous jury system.
And what?
Perhaps it would be harder for the Mafia to get to a potential witness this time around, considering they'd have a lot less manpower. No more Eugene, for example, to go thanking them for their service. And some other guys are also long gone. Bobby's gone. We know that he was helping look for a juror to intimidate. Syl, the guy who Tony sends on lots of errands and who also has connections, is in a coma. Christopher's gone too. Maybe Walden or Benny would help out. But again, there are so many variables. Plus, the FBI would probably be more on their guard this time in terms of watching out for jury tampering, perhaps even sequestering the jurors during the trial. Thanks for watching. What do you think about the FBI and their attempts to take down Tony Soprano?